What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And so, in today's video, we're going to be talking about George Pickens, the receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, we all saw the video of him not blocking, right? I guess that was inside the red zone, if I'm mistaken. And the running back he could have scored. He could have scored, but George Pickens just decided not to just block. He just decided to just stand there, reach out one hand on this guy. Didn't he barely even touched him? And the guy and the DB just ran and just made the tackle. He was one of the guys that helped made the tackle on the play. But my goodness, George Pickens didn't even give any effort at all. I mean, what the heck? I I think he's been acting like this because he hasn't been getting the ball apparently, and he has a right to be upset about not being in the offense because of the coordinator before he got fired. He just wasn't being utilized in the offense. As a receiver, you want the ball. Even when you're getting like 10 targets a game, you constantly want the ball because you think you can help your team win. In some cases, I mean, some receivers do. But when you're as talented as Pickens is, I mean, you just want the ball. You want to help contribute. But you just can't go out there and let the pouting get onto the field and affect your play. Because it was a reverse play to his side. If the play wasn't on his side, if he just didn't want to block, fine. If you just run a fade route to take the DB with you, because 9 times out of 10, the DB will run with you. You just don't just block on a play when the ball is going on your side. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, and then the interview, if I find the interview, I'll put it in the video.
You stay on the block too long, you can get ran up on very easy. So
some people are questioning your effort.
All the people that's questioning my effort down play football, they do what y'all do.
But he was asked about, by the reporters after the game, why he didn't block. And the game they played the Colts, which they lost. So the reporters asked him like, "Hey, it was a play that you didn't block for your receiver. I mean, your running back. Could you explain to us why you didn't do it?" His excuse was he thought about the Tank Dell injury, and he didn't want that to happen to him. Because he didn't want to get rolled up on. So basically, in other terms, screw blocking, screw my running back. I don't want to get hurt. So basically, I will put his body on the line. He made a business decision. As a football player, whether you're in high school, college, or NFL, you make a business decision just putting your body on the line. You make a business decision walking on the football field. That's a business decision. For you to even make that decision, like you will protect yourself, you won't protect yourself, but you said screw your teammates, it's me over him. Like, y'all, I'm not even gonna do it because I don't want to get hurt. If you go on a football field and that goes on your mind, if that even goes in just playing, you're playing, you in the middle of a game, and you think that you should have thought about that before the game. I mean, obviously that goes to every NFL player's head, like, I don't want to get hurt. But you don't think about that during the play, because the second you do that and you have loaf, that's when injuries happen. When you don't go 100% because you think about it, that's when the injuries happen. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he tore his Achilles just running away from a defender. The defensive end, Phillips from the Dolphins, he tore his Achilles just his get off the ball. I mean, for that to be an excuse not to even block for your guy, and he's laying his body on the line for the team, like he's taking on blitzing linebackers for his quarterback and everybody else. I mean, you just can't have that mindset playing in the NFL, other than and that's playing football. Because football, I heard this quote from a Colorado football coach. He said, "Football isn't a contact sport. Basketball is a contact sport. Football is a collision sport. You're going to deal with some type of injury. That's just the name of the game. You're going to get hurt, either hurt or injured. It's just going to happen. But to just go out there and just not even give it your all for your guy, the ones that's literally putting their life and body on the line just as well as you, for you to sit there and say I'm not blocking because of an injury, which we all know he was just pouting because he's not even getting the ball. But for you to sit there and do that, the guy that you was blocking could have blasted him. The guy that you did not block could have blasted your running back and hit him in the head. He would have got a concussion. If you were in that locker room, I mean, if this was back in the early 2000s or later, I mean, the guy would have probably gotten into a fight with one of his teammates because they would have not condoned that. And then the previous weeks, Deontay Johnson, I mean, he didn't block either. I'm assuming he was pouting too. And didn't even lay a block on the guy, just stood there. He didn't, no effort, just stood there and just watched the guy his guy get the fumble, and he looked down and watched the ball get on the ground, watched his guy, and watched like freaking 10, about 5-10 Cleveland Brown players just run right past him, and he still didn't run after him. He just walked off the field. I mean, this is just a recurring thing with the Pittsburgh Steelers with the receivers. Starting with Antonio Brown, I mean, the dude was a loose cannon. But one thing you can't say about Antonio Brown was he didn't give 110% effort on the field. Even though he's on the sidelines throwing coolers and stuff, his issues was off the field. On the field, AB showed up. He gave 110%. He was one of the best. But still, Mike Tomlin still had to deal with that. It was Antonio Brown, Chase Claypool, who else? Martavis Bryant, and Deontay Johnson, and now George Pickens. I mean, at this point, you have to look at Mike Tomlin and look at, are you allowing this? But me personally, my take is NFL coaches I think NFL coaches, they want a standard to be set. They go in and they can say it, but it's not their job to enforce it. That's the players. Just like Bill Belichick, he can say it, but it's up to the players to set the standard, aka Tom Brady. Tom Brady was in the locker room setting the standard. Hey, this is the Patriots way. You come on this field and you pouting and not blocking, you're not even going to play for this team. You're going to get cut the next day. You may get cut before the game. Matter of fact, you may get cut during the game. They'll tell you, hey, big fella, don't even worry about getting back on the field. Just sit down real quick, sit down for the rest of the game, and we'll let you know something after the game. But just know you ain't gonna be on this team no more. But it's just the receiver room with the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's like no leadership in the receiver room. I mean, this is receiver after receiver that they get. And it just once you see other guys act like that and they still get back on the field and play, they're not even being like punished for their actions. I mean, you're just gonna see a trickle down effect. I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to them to come with the right attitude, whether they're getting the ball or not. But at the end of the day, I mean, you just can't go out there and just not give 110% effort because there's other guys out there laying their bodies on the line. You just cannot do that. So it just seems like Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're drafting talent over the issues that these guys are having. And in the NFL, if the talent outweighs the problem, they're going to play. And I guess he was asked this question by a reporter as well. I mean, they asked him, are you going to bench him? And Mike Tomlin basically said, no, I'm not going to bench him because he's a talented receiver. And that kind of made a lot of people mad about that, like, you're just going to play this guy that he's just not blocking? I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, if the talent outweighs the problem, then a lot of coaches will put up with players like that. Prime example, LT. He wasn't really a problem, but I heard stories he was falling asleep in meetings and stuff like that. And it was some players like, hey, man, why the coach ain't really, getting on to him like he should? And then I guess the coach woke up LT, Lawrence Taylor. That's LT, not LaDainian Thompson, but Lawrence Taylor. And they woke him up and like they asked him questions, he got all of it right and just went back to sleep. And on Sundays, Buddy balled out. So if guys can perform on the field, coaches in the NFL will overlook them skipping meetings, sleeping in meetings, showing up to practice late. I mean, that's just how it is nowadays because they're helping them get to the probably the next coaching job, whether it's a head coaching job or whatever, or helping put food on the table for their families, getting another payday. I mean, that's how it is. That's how football works. But it just seems like the Steelers this is just a reoccurring problem with all the receivers, and it's just the receiving core. It's just the receiving core. I mean, I understand, they don't have a lot of talent on the offense and stuff like that, but you just can't do something like that, what George Pickens did. And then he went on, to reporters like, oh, it's guys like y'all that don't play football that, that shouldn't be talking about this or whatever, in the interview. And I get so sick and tired of professional athletes just saying stuff like that because the same people that's in the media judging you are the same ones who played in the NFL for years, just like you're in the NFL. Because it was Jeff Saturday, it was Ryan Clark, it was Richard Sherman, it was Keyshawn, it was all these guys who are on these big time platforms are calling you out. So if you're calling the media out for saying like, oh, y'all don't know football, so y'all shouldn't talk about this. Well, what are you going to say to the ones that are in the media that played years of football and were great at it? I mean, I'm so sick. Just take accountability. You just take accountability. And that's the problem. He's not even taking accountability. He's just pouting on the sideline. Like I said, I don't blame him for doing that because he should be getting more touches. He should be getting more catches. He should be utilized in the offense more. Anybody with a brain could tell the Steelers, yeah, y'all need to utilize this guy. But he has to understand they don't have a talented quarterback. So he has to up his game. He needs to reinvent himself. Instead of going to the game saying, oh, I want 10 throws to me per game. But the quarterback position is not allowing that to happen. So he needs to go into each game saying, okay, give me 2 to 3 catches, give me 2 to 3 passes a game, and let me reinvent myself. Let me be more of a blocker. Maybe I can just run all these routes to the best of my ability so they can get somebody else open so it can be an easier throw to one of my other guys. But to just not even just block for your guy like that and just to put his life on the line, I just don't get down with that, man. That's just me. I mean, George Pickens is a great guy. I'm pretty sure he is, but as a football player, if you're on that team, you just gotta look at him sideways. And the fact that we seen him in college just body dudes like Buddy's blocking guys. I remember one play in college when they played Georgia Tech. Buddy he sent one of the DBs to the freaking wall. And then they got into a fight, obviously, but he's been doing this all his career, all his years in college. Buddy will just push a guy 3 yards down the field. Like that he came into the draft that year, he got drafted as a physical receiver. He will block. He's a willingly blocker, and he's a physical guy. And he did that in the NFL. It's like he can do it. That's why we're looking at him sideways like, buddy, what the freak was that? And he was like, oh, the Tank Dell injury, I didn't want to do that. Well, you can't go about that like that. Any injury can happen. You could have stood there and I don't know, could have took one step and would have fell down with a turf toe injury. I mean, that's why you got drafted, because you were a willing blocker. Why do you think the 49ers are so successful? Because a lot of the receivers, running backs, everybody is willing to block because everything is implemented on the run game. Everybody's blocking. That's why they're so great. Even the Steelers, their previous offenses, back in the day, Hines Ward, all these guys were physical. These guys were willing guys who would put their bodies on the line to block for everybody. I mean, you just don't get that sense from Pittsburgh right now because it's too many me guys. It's not a lot of leadership on the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. So, so if you're a Steelers fan, just comment in the comment section. In the comment section, let me know what you guys think. What do you think about the George Pickens situation with him not blocking? Do y'all even think they're gonna even make the playoff this year? I mean, just gonna find out. So everybody else, comment what you guys think about the whole situation. Make sure y'all like the video. Make sure y'all subscribe. And I'll see y'all in the next one.